and obviously, no surprise in terms of who the top prospect is for USC, perhaps the top overall player in the 2024 class, at least to this point, and that's quarterback Caleb Williams. And Headley, I want to start with you. Your thoughts on his skill set, what you'd like to see him do, improve upon in 2023. Obviously, he's coming off the Heisman Trophy campaign. I mean, is there only way for him to go is down? Can he help himself? Is it just about maintaining the first overall pick? What do you think as far as his draft status and what he needs to prove, if there's anything that he needs to prove in 2023?
Yeah, I think he's the first pick in the draft if he comes out. Some people are, beating their chest for Drake May, but I think it's his spot to lose. He's an Oklahoma transfer. He came on the scene behind Spencer Rattler when Spencer Rattler got benched, and he showed out, man. He showed out for Lincoln Riley. He followed him over there to USC, and he showed out again last season, winning the Heisman Trophy, like you said, man. And he's the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes that we've seen in the draft class. Just how he plays football. He has great ball skills, like just the movements with his hands, even the handoffs, the fake handoffs. He does that really well. He throws from a lot of different arm angles, kind of like a Patrick Mahomes. And he's just a creative playmaker. He keeps plays alive. Receivers get open, get to the sidelines because he's going to be there. He's going to throw the ball to you. So you just got to be always ready when you're playing with Caleb Williams. He's a dominant runner when he takes off in a run game. I think defensive coordinators, they're going to stay up all night long trying to game plan for Caleb Williams. He has a strong arm. The things that I think he needs to work on is similar to when like Patrick Mahomes came out, where just get into your second, third read, just working within the offense a little better, going through your progressions. I think those are the things that he needs to work on a little bit. Just consistently winning from the pocket, especially when they send those blitzes, because it's a game against Utah. They kind of roughed him up a little bit, and he was hurt. I give him a pass on that, but you got to be able to win from the pocket. When they send that blitzes, you got to be able to hit the hot read. I think that's really important for Caleb Williams at the next level. But the tools. When you talk about tools, he has it with his legs, his arms, just the way he plays football, keeping the play alive. He has a lot of things that teams are going to love. But just working from in the pocket, hitting those hot reads, I think that's where he needs to improve on at the next level.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just him playing a little bit more, right? Like you said, he's played for two different teams, essentially the same offense. I have it here. He's creative in and out of the pocket, run, pass, extend. Dude's slippery. I liken him to a running back when he's in the open field, man, because he's a very, very hard guy to take down. Similar to Patrick Mahomes in terms of being slippery, but I think he's stronger than Patrick Mahomes is, and there's times where I'm like, all right, they should be able to take this guy, and it should be a sack or like a 2-yard gain or something, and he just kind of breaks through and is able to kind of keep the play going, man. He's a deceptive runner, I guess, but I don't know, man. 6'1", 215. I guess that's a solid build, right? I think he's similar in terms of Bryce Young, in terms of being a cool customer in the pocket, never panics. Like Headley said, though, I think he's got some things he has to work on. Just not I wouldn't say so much. Well, I guess I would go with it in terms of going through your progressions, but getting the ball out timely. I think that just comes with more, just playing more, man. As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't really make any mistakes in terms of turning the football over. I think he has great pocket awareness, and he's super creative, man. I think that's where a lot of people will liken him to Patrick Mahomes. I know when Patrick Mahomes was coming out for us, we weren't big fans of it, and it was a lot of it had to do with the turnover-worthy plays, right? And for whatever reason, people just kind of like it wasn't a thing. Like that didn't count. Like that wasn't a thing, right? And in the league, he's playing with probably the best offensive mind in the league, and he doesn't turn the football over. That was one of the things. If he could not do that, then hey, but you have Caleb Williams here who doesn't really turn the football over. But again, we got to refine those things when it comes to getting the ball out timely and seeing what we're seeing to get that ball out timely. So could he not be the first pick overall? Yeah, Drake May could take him. Drake May got the size. They're talking about he's the closest thing. I've heard Josh Allen. I've heard Justin Herbert, but right now I got Caleb Williams higher than Drake May at the current moment.
I do agree Caleb Williams is a better runner. Both are creative. Both do a really good job of extending plays. And like you mentioned, at times the ball just doesn't come out on time. You know what I mean? And the benefit that Patrick Mahomes had was, obviously going to a playoff caliber team, best offensive mind in the league in Andy Reid. He had an opportunity to actually sit and learn how to prepare. It wasn't anything about his skill set. I think obviously the talent was there, but understanding how to prepare week in, week out, the nuance associated with the NFL game as compared to Big 12 football. This was after and before the Big 12 actually started to play defense. So it was during that period of time where it was just, light up the scoreboard. It didn't matter who was playing. So different situation for Caleb Williams. We're talking about him being the first or second quarterback off the board, but we're not necessarily talking or thinking that it's going to be a team that has a proven starter already in place and a playoff caliber roster already around him. You understand what I'm saying? He's probably going to go to a bad football team. And with that comes its own inherent challenges. We talk about it all the time as far as young quarterbacks and making that transition from the college ranks to the NFL is a lot of time it's your landing spot. A lot of that has to do, that is a big factor in terms of a player's, his projection as far as how well he ultimately plays. Now, obviously the draft is a projection in of itself, but again, landing spot certainly is figured into that calculus. There'll be a lot of conversation around Caleb Williams, obviously because he's a quarterback, but because there are some similarities in terms of the play style that they have. But I do think there's some relatively stark differences between Mahomes and Williams too. Like I said, I think Williams is a better runner, open field runner. Not to say that Caleb Williams has a bad arm by any stretch of imagination, but I think Mahomes has a bigger arm. You know what I'm saying? Just in terms of arm strength, he has a bigger arm from that perspective. Similar in terms of, again, their ability to kind of throw from different platforms and create. And I think when we talk about creativity, and something that we really couldn't we really couldn't extrapolate during our evaluation of Patrick Mahomes, but I certainly understand it now, and I can kind of see it in prospects moving forward, especially as we get more refined with our quarterback prognostications and analysis, is competitive spirit. You know what I mean? I think that's what separates Mahomes a lot, is the fact that he does not give up. And you mentioned him protecting the football. There are times, I think less so this past season, but in previous years, when you rolled out the two deep shell, it just was defensive backs not making a play. There were opportunities, but guys weren't making the plays. This past year, Kansas City, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, they developed some two deep beaters, and Mahomes, he executed that very well. So I say all that to say that Caleb Williams, like any talented quarterback, uber talented quarterback, still gonna need good coaching. Still gonna need, a system and a quality supporting cast. May not necessarily be a group of world beaters per se, but a quality supporting cast and a quality offensive line. You know what I mean? There were times where, of course, Williams was kind of dancing back there and creating time, but quite a few snaps where he could just go back there and pat the football as well. You know what I mean? I thought the Trojans, for the most part, did a pretty decent job of keeping him upright. And you can't put all of the pressure that he faced solely on the offensive line because, again, the ball didn't always come out when it needed to, a la Patrick Mahomes. So lots of parallels, but I think there's some stark differences between them as well. Obviously, very talented quarterback. And like I said, Caleb Williams, outside of, the Pac-12 championship and really kind of, putting that cherry on top of the 2022 season, I mean, it's a Heisman campaign, and he would have been the first quarterback selected last year, as D-Kit mentioned. You know what I mean? So hopefully he stays healthy, and I'm hopeful that he lands somewhere where there is quality coaching and a good offensive line. I think the rest you can build around them, but you don't want to see a young quarterback take a beating, especially a guy this talented. You have high hopes for, clearly very skilled. You really want them to be able to actually keep their head on straight. We've seen quarterbacks take a beating coming out of college and never truly recover.